Hello, everybody. I just wanted to jump on here real quick and make a video in regards to my workbook. I've mentioned it throughout some of my videos, but I don't think there's a lot of information about my workbook aside from just me mentioning it. So I just wanted to come on here and make a video and show you guys the entirety of my workbook. I know sometimes when you go to like Amazon or things like that and you're looking at books, it only shows you like the first few pages or the first little bit. I just wanted to come on here and show you kind of what my workbook looks like. I know some of you have already purchased this and thank you so much. I hope you're finding it useful. But I wanted to get on here and kind of show you the entirety of what this workbook looks like, because some people have heard me mention it and they're like, what is this workbook? What is this all about? So I kind of wanted to jump on here and just make a video of kind of what this looks like, essentially. Okay, so it just starts with like redefining therapy and coaching, my workbook. I'm just going to go through it page by page so you guys can see. So you have your contents. So you can see your contents go in order of the videos that are posted on YouTube. Okay, so videos 1 through 5 do CBT and the skills. Video 6 through 9 do DBT and the skills. Video 10 is your core beliefs. 11 and 12 is ABC, CBT, and 13 is making it all make sense. Okay, so that's what the table of contents looks like. Then I have my hello page. This is just telling you a little bit about me and this workbook. And then just kind of like a welcome to the course and just kind of what this workbook is designed to do. Okay. In every beginning piece, whether it's cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, core beliefs, you're always going to have an introduction page that looks like this. And it kind of just has these arrows showing you kind of, we call it in therapy, the golden thread. It's kind of where you start and then kind of how you continue to thread everything through. So you can see this one has an intro to CBT and then what video that is. Your thoughts and thinking errors is video number 2. Emotions, anxiety is video number 3. So it kind of goes step by step what the videos are. Then I try to break it down. Okay, so intro to CBT is video number 1. It gives you some education of what cognitive behavioral therapy is. It shows you the triangle that I use throughout the videos. Your thoughts begins in video number 2. Again, this is just an overview of what the thoughts are. And then I have a note page here if you want to take notes on anything in relation to the cognitive behavioral therapy triangle or your thinking errors or anything to do with thoughts. I've given you a little bit of a note page. Some people like to pause here and take notes in relation to their thinking errors, so I have provided that. Then we move on to actually identifying your thinking errors. Okay, so they're just yes or no questions. There's 2 pages of this in your workbooks. As you can see, this is page 1. This is page 2, so there's 11 thinking errors on here. I have provided the error and then underneath an example of that error, and then you just go through and check mark yes or no. I think that I have that error. I try to use very generic examples of this and examples that you could be like, oh, I do that. Okay, if you are unsure, this is why I have provided my email multiple times if you're ever questioning anything. This is also why I provide virtual sessions at only $65 a session. Tried to make it as cheap as possible because I know therapy can be really expensive. So there's 2 pages of your thinking errors. Again, at any time you have my contact information if you decide to purchase the workbook and you get a little bit confused. Okay, then it's going to go on to your examples. And again, this goes hand in hand with the video content. So if you purchase the workbook, you're going to go hand in hand with the videos. So this is just an activity that goes along with the videos. Okay, thinking error example, it's in the video. So this is just going to kind of be like a follow along activity piece for you to do in the workbook. Okay, then you do the math activity, which is also part of video number 2. This kind of goes through and it will give you, again, these little check mark, these boxes that you check off. That's just step by step. The other little pieces are some information about this. Again, all of the information on this page is in the videos as well. And then these boxes, you just check them off as you do it. And that will give you your percentage of essentially what I like to say your brain is working at. No, this is not an exact. It's just an activity that I like to use to raise awareness for people. Okay, then you go into Mr. Murderman. You have to watch the video to do Mr. Murderman. Okay, so Mr. Murderman is just right here telling you to watch the video. And then you go into actually doing the activity with Mr. Murderman. And I think there's 2 pages for this one. Oh, nope, there was only 1 page. Okay, then it goes into emotion. So video number 3. So hopefully you're starting to see in this workbook everything that's in the video is also in the book. So it was really designed to go hand in hand. And I really tried to kind of put what the title was and what the video is. So if you're halfway through the program and you're like, oh, you know what? I totally forgot about emotions. I want to go review that, but I can't remember what video it is. It's numbered in the workbook, and I also have them numbered on YouTube. Okay. So I'm hoping that you can see as I'm showing you this workbook, it really does go hand in hand. Okay. The feelings wheel is video number 3. It's got the feelings wheel pictured here and all of the information. Samson the snake is also part of emotions in video number 3. It's got all of the information here for that. What's the big deal part of video number 3? It's got the education on this page. And then your emotion examples. Again, this is just another activity that I go over in the videos that is now time for you to practice based on that information that was provided. So in the workbook, you can see there's some blank spaces for you to kind of go through and complete that activity. Looks like there's another page of this as well. Then we go into video number 4, which is all about behaviors in the parent-adult-child model. Again, you can see here the education is listed. Further education and how they break down. Again, parent, adult, child egos broken down into video number 4. And then you have a note space. I provided another note space here for behaviors because this one seems to get a little intense and one that I typically see people taking notes on. So I've provided that note space in my workbook for you. Okay, then we go to the adult ego, which is just another ego. Again, there's a notes page right there. And then we go to an activity. Okay, so this is where you start identifying what you learned throughout the behavior module. Okay, so PAC, you can see there's an identification. This is just an activity again that goes along in the video. I explain this activity in the video, and then in the workbook, based on all the previous education you've had, even if you don't watch the videos, you're still going to be able to do this activity simply just with the workbook. Okay, now video number 5, we put it all together. So all of that education that you've seen me go through so far, thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and all the video numbers. Video number 5, you kind of put all that together and we're really wrapping up, I would say, that module of cognitive behavioral therapy. So in the beginning, you saw that roadmap with all of the arrows. This is now just kind of putting all of that together. Okay, there's the activity that goes with it. So I've really tried in this workbook to give you education and some activities so you can practice what you're learning. So that's kind of why some pages are just education, some pages are activities, okay? Then at the end of every single quote unquote module or every piece of education, I put a sheet in here that looks exactly like this for every single one of them. Okay, so this is the end of your CBT education. I have put my contact information in there as far as, and also what's to come next. So please contact me with any questions, comments, concerns prior to moving forward with DBT. That's the next module. So I've tried to include what's coming next. I've also included my website. I've included the price of each session and where you can go ahead and book those, again, as well as my contact information email-wise if you're looking for any more education, questions, comments, concerns in relation to what you found in the video content and or in the workbook, okay? Now we move on to DBT. Like I said before, every new quote unquote module is going to have this exact same page. So this is going to tell you we have video 6 through 9, and all of this is DBT. So you can see intro to DBT is video 6. The 3 states of mind is video 6. Mindfulness is video 7. Dialectics is video 8, so on and so forth. I've tried to really show you what you're getting into in this little roadmap of every new module. So we have our intro to DBT, which is video number 6, and a little bit of education. 3 states of mind is video number 6. There's some education here. And now here comes the place where you do the activity. Okay, just like in cognitive behavioral therapy, you're going to get some education that goes with the video, and you're going to get an activity. So here's the activity, and here's part 2 of the activity. The 3 states of mind has 2 parts to it. Then we move on. Note space. Okay, I have provided this for mindfulness. In the cognitive behavioral therapy piece, some of the note pages came after the education. I have put this one before the education just because sometimes when I printed the workbook out, it was a little bit easier to have the note page here and kind of flip back and forth this way rather than flipping all the way through mindfulness and then coming to the note page. So that's why that's a little bit different, but I have provided a note page here as we go through mindfulness, video number 7. There is no education right here. This is simply just your activity. If you watch the video, you're going to get all the education. but here is how to interweave the different parts of mindfulness. There's your activity. I did not provide the education on mindfulness in here for a reason. Okay. I did that so people would watch the video. I am more than happy to go and put the education in here, but mindfulness is one of those things. I like people to try and learn it on their own with just interweaving that activity together without being able to go back and constantly look at the education. Mindfulness is one of those things I really like people to try and figure out on their own as much as possible. So that is why there's not an education sheet on what mindfulness is and how to do it. That's why it goes straight into the activity. Okay, that is for a reason. However, if you are struggling, if you've purchased the workbook and you're struggling with that lack of education, I am more than happy to send you over the worksheets for it so you can understand it a little bit better and have that. Okay, moving on. Video number 8, dialectics. I have provided you a note sheet so you can take notes on dialectics in the videos. I have not provided education for dialectics as well because the education on dialectics is kind of hard to map out because it's almost one of those things that's so easy that I felt like putting a worksheet with education in almost was too complicated. I felt like do the education, take your own notes so you can put this in your own words and then do the activity. Dialectics is one of those things that's almost so easy that if you try to like put it into your words, if I was to put it in my words and give it to people, I think it'd be too complicated, even though it's so easy. I hope that makes sense. It's like it's so easy, it's hard kind of a thing. So I put the note page in there for you to be able to take notes yourself and then do the activity, okay? Everything I did in this workbook was very intentional. If you purchased the workbook and you have questions, I am more than happy to go over those questions with you, okay? Moving on, emotional vulnerabilities, video number 9. This just gives you a tiny bit of education and then the activity. The reason there's such a small amount of education is because emotional vulnerabilities is very straightforward. It's very black and white. Like you shouldn't need a ton of education on the backpack. That's why. Okay. Then you have your activity. Then we go to video number 9, which is ABC Please, which is just the skill set. So here's the skill set mapped out for you. Here's some notes, a note page if you want to take notes on ABC Please. I see a lot of people do take notes on this in session, and then you have the activity. So this kind of goes back to the way it was. Education, note page, activity. Okay, so ABC, please. And then your end of DBT. Okay, so again, every time we end a module, the page looks like this all the time. So again, I put, we're done with DBT education. I hope you're looking forward to negative core beliefs. Contact me, further clarification, the price of my sessions, where you can find them, and my contact information. Now we move forward. Again, here is your roadmap of negative core beliefs. So this is all in one video. I have a disclaimer here on this one in particular. Watch the video first, then do the workbook. Okay, this is the one that I encourage, and I have a disclaimer. Watch the video maybe even twice before you dive into the workbook, because this is kind of where everything ties together. Video number 10 is why I do what I do. So I tell people, encourage people, if you want to get the most out of it, please watch the video a couple of times, once or twice, before you start diving into the actual workbook. Okay. Identification of negative core beliefs. When you watch the video, you will understand what that activity means. And then I give you education on the effects of core beliefs, both here and here. There's a little activity for you to do on the right-hand side in relation to core beliefs. I then give you education on negative core beliefs in relation to generalized anxiety disorder and major depressive disorder. This is all in the workbook. All of this education is in the workbook. And then that is the end of negative core beliefs, right? That's only one video. So that one is, it seems short and sweet, but this is actually a very, very, very important video. This is why I encourage you to watch it, then do the workbook. Okay. Again, contact information, what we're going to dive into next, the price of my sessions, on and on and on. Same thing on that page. Then we go into ABC CBT. So this is 2 videos. You can see they're mapped out what you're going to get in each video. And then I go through ABC CBT. This is the education piece of what ABC is. Here are some examples of it that I go through in the video. a list of your consequences. This is just education again, and then a spot for you to practice this. Okay, and I think I put a few of these in here. Yep, there's 1, 2, 3. So 3 areas for you to practice ABC, CBT. And then I have the dismantle part. So essentially think of it like ABCD. Okay, so we do ABC first, and then the D is the dismantle. So here is all of your education with an example of how a dismantle looks. Again, this is in the workbook. And then you have a spot for you to practice it 1, 2, 3 different times. You can practice your own dismantle. Okay, that is the end of ABC CBT. As always, this page is just like all the other pages that are like this at the end of the module. And now we go into the final one, making it make sense. So video number 13. Then we go into your steps to dismantling your core beliefs. So this is education. This has all of your steps with the examples. Then there's a spot for you to practice the activity on your own. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I did that 4 times for a reason, because this one gets a little intense. Then you have your arrow activity. Okay, it says watch video number 13 to see how this is done. Again, this is one I didn't want to give education on because I want to make sure people are seeing this in the video itself. Okay, so watch the video. Here's your activity. And I think I did this one a couple times. And then the reframe, again, this is in video number 13. There's not an education piece provided on this because it's not one of those things that it's so easy, it's hard if I put it in a video. It's one of those things that I want you to think as much as possible on your own without having all of those education pieces at your fingertips in a book. Okay. When you start going through the process, you'll know what I mean by that. So I gave you a few spaces to do that. And then there's your old way versus new way. So the left side has an example of what your old core belief system looks like. And then the right-hand side is kind of what it looks like now. And then I've given you a couple of places to practice old versus new. See, you can see there's 1 page, 2 page. And then this is kind of my ending page. My contact information, my website, where to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to YouTube. And then just to thank you and that I hope you enjoyed this and that I will post more content. My workbook is $80. And you're getting all of the therapeutic education essentially for free here on YouTube. When you calculate it out, if I was to charge cash for this, you would be roughly, including the workbook with all the sessions that I provide, if you did this one-on-one, you would be looking at over $2,000 cash. With insurance, you probably still would be looking somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000, even with insurance. I have provided all of the education here on YouTube. My workbook is $80. You can purchase them on my website, or if you are just wanting a workbook, you can reach out to me via email and I can get one sent over to you if you don't like ordering things off of websites. I have that available as well. I hope this is helpful. I know that I have mentioned my workbook before on this channel, but I've never gone in and kind of shown you what it does. You can watch all of my videos and just keep a notebook of it. But some people really like the structure of a workbook. And I feel like we did a really good job of putting the workbook together. If you buy the workbook and you go through it and you see things that you think could be better, I am all for making suggestions and changes and all of those things. I learn just as much from you guys as I hope you learn from me. Like, we are all in this together. I just have the skills to teach you, but I learned so much from the people that buy this. And you have to understand how much I do appreciate the people that purchase my workbook. I have a dream to teach large groups of people some of these things. One of my ultimate dreams is to be able to take like an 8-hour day and do this as a training for other therapists and for people that are interested. And anytime a workbook gets purchased, or anytime you subscribe or share my workbook word of mouth or email or with other people and get my name out there, you have no idea how much you're doing for me. And as a single mom of 2 kids that's been through a lot to get where I'm at today, I cannot thank you enough for purchasing this. So if you do purchase it, if you watch my videos, if you subscribe, if you support me in any way, shape, or form, truly thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I hope you learn just as much from me as I do from you. And I hope to be anything that I can be for you as you're going through this process. I've been through this process myself, and I know how powerful it is to come out on the other side. And so I feel so grateful that I was in a position to be able to create a workbook for as cheap as I possibly could do it, for people that also want to have very positive outcomes. So if you purchase my workbook, if you subscribe, if you support me, thank you so much. Again, you can purchase this. It's $80 and you can purchase it on my website, or you can feel free to email me and I can get you a copy sent over to your home. Okay, thank you so much.